Hi, good afternoon. We're going to get started. Welcome to the City of Dubuque Arts and Culture Special Projects Grant Program for FY24. My name is Paula Newhouse. I serve on the Arts and Cultural Affairs Commission, and I also sit on the Grant Program Subcommittee. So a couple of us work to get these programs together. So we appreciate you being here. So a couple of things before we get started. I wanted to just quickly thank the Arts and Cultural Affairs Commission and the Grants Committee for pulling everything together and being so dedicated and purposeful in the way that we craft these grant programs to serve our arts orgs and individuals. And Laura Merrick is with us today. She's our NEA administrator at the City of Dubuque, and Laura is going to monitor all of the questions, so we have you covered. And then I want to thank the City of Dubuque and the City Council for prioritizing the allocation of arts funding in our community. It's not true of all communities, so we're really lucky. Since 2005, through these Arts and Cultural Affairs grants programs, the city has awarded more than $4.1 million in arts and culture funding to groups and individuals. So this year, and the why we're here today, the City Special Projects FY24 has $35,000 in funding this round. A couple of other quick housekeeping. The guidelines and the copy of the questions are in the handouts tab on your GoToMeeting platform thing there. It's called Handouts tab. Those can also be downloaded from the Arts and Culture website, but we thought we would put them here so you have them right at your fingertips. Like I said, they can be found on the City and Arts and Culture website at cityofdubuque.org. We're going to ask that you hold any of the questions till the end of the session. And there's a GoToMeeting platform, has a question icon. You can type them into there, or you can just throw your questions in the chat, and we will address them in the Q&A at the very end. Two more great things. Good news, no significant changes to the application this year. Huzzah! We have made some minor tweaks to the financial worksheet. Just made that a little simpler for you. And then a reminder, we're using Slide Room platform again this year for your grant submission and for the grants management on the back end. You're going to need to set up a free Slide Room account. So don't worry, it's not scary. When you click on the online to apply within the City of Arts and Culture grants page, when you click on the online to apply button, it's going to direct you, it'll take you directly to Slide Room. So you either one, log in if you already have an account, or two, you can just sign up. It's free and it's fast, easy breezy. And then one last thing. So as many of you may know, Jenny Peterson Brandt, who was formerly our Arts and Cultural Affairs manager, has accepted a new position elsewhere. The city is currently in the process of hiring a new arts and culture manager. So meanwhile, City of Economic Development team is going to answer all your inquiries throughout the process. So don't worry about Jenny not being there for you. There are plenty of us that will take care of it for you. And there's a contact us section at the bottom of the Arts and Grants webpage. Has all the goodies, so you can reach out. I'm going to click over to our webinar agenda page. We're going to go through everything you're going to need to do. The purpose of the program and important dates. We will go through eligibility requirements, the funding guidelines, the rating criteria, which is going to really help you go through the rubric of how our review panelists score your applications. We'll do an overview of all the applications and step-by-step process. We'll enlighten you about the review process, just so you kind of know how the grant program works and what that oversight looks like, and everyone who's involved. So we're going to give you some sweet little tips and resources, and then we'll address any questions that you might have. So let's dive into purpose and important dates. Whoops. So our purpose is, so through the Arts and Culture Special Projects Grant, City of Dubuque is going to provide funding to cultivate unique and innovative arts experiences. Particularly for public audiences, that's key. And within those priorities, we really want to see community engagement and active partnerships that are cross-collaborative. So that might look like an arts org, a visual arts org working with a performance art org, something like that. Or with this grant, incorporating other nonprofits and other organizations throughout the community that are not necessarily arts related. Those are great partnerships too. Special projects grants always must integrate diversity, equity, and inclusion. These practices have been identified for the city of Dubuque in their goals and priorities because we really are looking toward a diverse and equitable community and how we do business there. At the foundation of everything that we do, applicants are going to have to demonstrate how their mission, programs, and their projects advance the goals of the City of Dubuque's Arts and Culture Master Plan. And you're going to find it here on the city website. When you get this, you can't click on a link on a webinar, of course, but you will be able to later when this recording is going to go out to everyone. And it will also go out as a slide deck, and those links will be hot for you. These are some important dates that you don't want to miss. So the applications are up and out now, as you know. Friday, May 12th, they are due via slide room only. We only take applications via slide room this year, or last year, I think that program started. Slide room is making your life super easy, both yours and ours on the back end. So these are going to be due on Friday, May 12th before midnight. The 11:59 p.m. is strictly enforced because the slide room will literally close down and shut you out. So you want to get them in before that. And unfortunately, no exceptions will be made after that. And then once your applications are all in, I'll give you a brief overview of what happens next. Applications go to a volunteer review panel. These panelists are members of our community and the region that are vetted volunteers, and they score according to a rubric. And that's May, June. It might take us about a month. And then June to July, these recommendations, the reviewers make recommendations, and then they flow in the following order. So first they go back to the Arts and Cultural Affairs Commission. They take a look, they have discussion, they make recommendations to the city manager about which projects move forward for funding. And then the city manager takes those to city council for final approval. Then moving into July, once the city council has granted approval, city staff will send out award notifications, and then that will be followed by an award agreement and a contract. And then moving into August, you will have an opportunity to sign your agreements. You'll submit them back to staff. City manager will sign them, and then you submit an invoice for the payment. Now, funding will be dispersed with 80% of your award up front, with the final 20% being dispersed with your final report in August of next year. We'll talk quick about eligibility requirements. Everyone's going to want to know if their group is eligible. So is my group or org eligible? So we have a couple of categories here. Good news, a 501c3 status is not required for the City Special Projects Program. You can be eligible in a couple of different ways. So a traditional Dubuque-based organization who operate as a nonprofit, as a 501c3, as we call it. Or you can be a Dubuque-based group or that has their own specific mission, their own governing structure and their own budget, but they might be operating under the incorporated status of a Dubuque fiscal agent. So a really good example of that here in Dubuque is the Dubuque County Fine Arts Society. They have a variety of groups that operate sort of under their umbrella. So if you're operating under a fiscal agent, we're going to ask that you put together, or you request a letter from your agent affirming that you are under their umbrella. Sometimes they'll just hand over your 501c3 doc letter, and that's appropriate as well. And then the third category, which is the no 501c3, these are Dubuque-based groups who operate in service to provide arts or cultural experiences to the broader community, but they don't have a 501c3. And that's very exciting to be able to have this opportunity for individuals that are just working to create a transformational change of our cultural landscape in Dubuque. Now, if you do fall into this third category, we're going to ask during the application process that you upload a letter that talks about the history of your group and how your work within the arts serves our broader community. This last one here, I think can be a little bit confusing how it's written, but it's only one application per eligible applicant will be accepted. So an applicant can be identified as a partnering entity with another application, but that application cannot be for the same project. So for example, if the Multicultural Family Center is partnering with the Dubuque Symphony Orchestra and they're working on one project together as partners, that project can only be submitted by one of the orgs for funding during this round. So you'll have to duke that out between your partners. So moving on, so ineligible entities, for-profit organizations or businesses are not eligible. Unfortunately, no individual artists are eligible in this round. Any city org or group operating outside of the city limits. So this is the city of Dubuque resident tax funded dollars. So outside of city limits folks are not eligible. And then an organization that has any outstanding final report. Believe it or not, people actually don't submit their final reports and they leave that 20% of funding on the table. Don't do it. Be in compliance. So eligible activities. So what your special project can fund, again, your project program activity is going to need to be conducted within the city of Dubuque city limits. So you can do creation, performance, exhibition, publication, any presentation of arts and culture experiences. So keep in mind, culture and the humanities are also fall under arts and culture. So culture and historic resources, folk and traditional art, theater, performing arts, spoken word, literature, dance, music, film, visual art, and then other arts and cultural learning opportunities. Maybe that becomes teaching an art class or something like that, or incorporating art into how you do business if you're not an arts and culture organization. So project imperatives. So this is meaning your imperatives, this means that this is essential. The following three pieces are essential and central to your project. So successful special projects will demonstrate unique relevance. So creating unique and innovative arts experiences and learning opportunities that stand out from what your usual suspect or your usual activities may be doing. Now, your activity can be produced within an established series of programs, but we really want to see something different from these organizations. The second piece that we really need to see that will make a successful application are partnerships. We want to see active and collaborative partnerships with one or more entities. Again, these don't have to be arts orgs. These can be partners throughout the community. Maybe it's who you want to serve. But your partner, you're going to be asked to submit at least one letter of commitment from one of your partner orgs that demonstrates that they're actively engaged in either creating the project development or implementation of your project. So maybe you invite someone to the table to help develop and inform your project, but then they're not necessarily on stage with you later, but they're going to inform maybe how you do that project to reach maybe a particular audience. Equally, the third project imperative, we really want to see that you have diversity, equity, and inclusion at the foundation of your planning efforts and your outcomes. We really want to see, Dubuque is moving toward advancing equity, creating inclusive access to the arts and culture, and represent diverse populations. This takes many forms. So we're gonna, in one of the next slide decks, we're going to offer you an opportunity of where to find those. That's at Dubuque, Inclusive Dubuque on the Community Foundation of Greater Dubuque has some terrific resources and toolkits on how you can sort of wrap your head around identifying ways to integrate DEIA best practices. I think that's a little bit later in the slide deck. We'll hop into the funding guidelines. Our max funding this year, or our max funding every year, is $8,000 with a minimum request of $1,000. So please don't send us an application request for $500. You need to ask for at least $1,000. in order to be eligible to apply. Our funding pool, as I mentioned before, for this next year is a funding pool of $35,000 for special project support. A one-to-one match is required. We had done away with this during COVID. We allowed organizations to not have to provide a match because of the financial strain from the pandemic, but most of us have bounced back, so we've returned to the one-to-one match required. Now, one-to-one means if you get granted $1, you have to match with one of your own dollars. Now, 50% of that has to be in cash. The remaining 50% can be in kind, so donated materials, donated volunteer time, something like that, or it can be a combination of cash and in kind. So funding guidelines for eligible and ineligible expenses. Most importantly, these expenses must be project specific. So that means you cannot use them for operational support. You can't use them for something you need for your office. They have to be essential to be able to deliver this project. These can include artist or contractor fees, licensing and subscription fees, supplies, materials, space and equipment rentals. So be it a venue or maybe you need to rent a sound system, domestic travel. Marketing is don't we all love to have a little extra marketing money? So marketing and publicity. Equipment purchases are eligible under this grant, but they need to stay under $500. So no major purchase over $5 will be allowed. Employer volunteer costs, so you can support your staff for their hours dedicated to this project, as long as it's essential to meeting the project outcome. Lots of ineligible expenses, and these are very typical of a grant program period. So projects that occur before or after the funding period are not allowed. Ongoing projects or programs that just have sort of random beginning and end dates, not going to happen. Projects or activities that are not open to the public. These arts and cultural experiences need to have a public audience. That's what they're there for. General operating expenses, so keeping the lights on, not allowed. Religious, political, and sports activities, no fundraising or benefit events, no competitions, contests, awards, or achievement recognition. No food, beverage, or catering costs are allowed to be eligible. Now you can match with those if you're having you're having an art opening and you're going to fund the art project and the installation, and you're going to throw a reception. Now your food and beverages could be a match opportunity there. International travel, no capital projects, so construction, vertical infrastructure, property renovation, restoration projects, not eligible. You cannot re-grant the money, although, hop back to that, although you can pay an artist or a contractor a fee, but you cannot re-grant a significant amount of the money. So the last being no acquisition or purchase of artwork for permanent collections. I'm going to move on to the rating criteria. This is basically the rubric, and this will be provided to you as part of your application process. I highly suggest that you take a look at it before you before you start writing your proposal. So as you form your argument as to why you should have funding for this project, you really want to align it with the following rating criteria. So project readiness. Are you poised? Is your organization or your group poised to hop into this project? If so, maybe what have you seen before? You know, what kind of scaffolding and platform have you developed that you know that you're ready to move into this project, that you have plenty of people, time, and resources? We want to see them align with the arts and cultural master plans and goals. We'll share a link to those as well. Project description, goals, uniqueness, and relevance. We want to see those partnerships and the DEAI integration. So this slide, the project description, goals, uniqueness, and relevance, this deep dives into the scoring rubric. I'm going to probably let you dive into these deeply on your own and ask questions if you need to. But again, you know, we really want to see that your project is unique, innovative, timely for the applicant and the community. So how is this project different from your previous program offerings? Are you trying something new? Are you reaching out to integrate a new partnership? If this project is an ongoing series of events, for example, if you have 3 plays in a year and you really want to fund this particular new play, how does this particular project expand on everything else that you've already done? How does it elevate your new priorities or needs of both your organization or the Dubuque community? The next one is the partnership. So we really want you to provide evidence of active partnership. Like we said, we want you to reach out to others in your community. Maybe it's another organization or a school or an individual artist to help you create something new that you haven't done before. Maybe that's a consulting voice that has specialty in some area that you really want to have, but you don't always do. Maybe that's someone who's super DEAI forward in their work and that they can help you to get where your organization wants to go. Whoever that partner is, we're going to ask for at least one letter of commitment for the collaborating artist. And additional letters can be provided, and we want you to sort of combine those into one single PDF and upload them. Just the one is required. And again, you can deep dive into this rubric on your own, but the points category, 3 points, 2 points, 1 point, depending upon how the reviewers see where you're landing within that, that intentional partnership. Again, the DEI integration, diversity, equity, inclusion. Now, the city of Dubuque strives to be an equitable community of choice. It prioritizes to support our organizations that are intentionally apply an equity lens, explicit but not limited to race. And it creates an inclusive access to arts and culture. Now, it's important that the grantees are going to be able to share examples of their commitment to welcoming and serving all audiences. So our next page here, we're going to provide you with some resources. So the Community Foundation of Greater Dubuque had created Inclusive Dubuque, which is an organization that's helped the community wrap their heads around what DEAI really meant. I keep saying A because in the museum field, we use accessibility as well, but diversity, equity, inclusion. Take a look at this hot link at inclusivedubuque.org. There's all sorts of research, resources, and toolkits that really will help you sort of think outside the box on how you're going to integrate a variety of lenses. Now, your project readiness. We really want you in this section to describe how your organization is ready to implement the project. Take a look at, we want to see a detailed timeline of your project activities. Describe how your project outcomes will be measured and evaluated. The key to success in any project is evaluation. So I strongly encourage that you build evaluation, sort of pre and post. So set some thoughts ahead of time and then set up a structured evaluation of how you can determine if your project was successful. And then it looks like your provided budget is also going to be considered in a project readiness score as well. So the application overview and some steps here. Now the Arts and Culture Master Plan goals and priorities. Select all strategies. There's going to be a drop-down menu for you here. And you're going to select all the strategies from the Arts and Culture Master Plan that your organization or your group is most actively advancing. And there'll be some hot links here and you'll be able to take a look and align them. And then the next part here is as applicable, and this is not required by any means, but as applicable, we would love to hear some discussion on specific efforts that your group is making to align with other city goals, priorities, and plans. So there's you'll see, and these are all hot linked within your slide room. City goals, plans, and priorities. The Imagined Dubuque plan is the Climate Action Resiliency Plan, and Equitable Poverty Reduction and Prevention Plan. Maybe that's not your organization's typical mission alignment, but perhaps with but perhaps you could let us know if you're already doing something within that and if that informs or is integrated into your arts project. Or potentially that might be something that your partner org will be advancing. So just let us know what you're doing there. Again, not required, but we would love to hear it. You won't be scored on your alignment with those other priorities. So now the application overview and the steps to get you there. So again, applications will be submitted no later than Friday, May 12th, 11:59 p.m. This is strictly enforced. As I mentioned, slide room will close down at midnight. So slide room only. There's a link there for you. It's, like I said, very easy. Late, incomplete, or ineligible applications will not be accepted. Post-submission changes or additions will not be accepted either. You may have the unique choice that a city staff will reach out to you for something, maybe a glitch in the system or whoops, or something that they wanted to hear from you, but they won't be, sorry about the bouncing slides, but they're not going to be accepted unless we request them. The applicant is responsible for all content and the timely submission of their own application. The applications are downloadable on the city website. They're also in our handout section of the GoToMeeting platform. But I also, if you haven't written a grant before, I do suggest working on a Word doc, and that's up in the handout section. Whoops, that's a PDF, but there is a Word document on the website. Work within your Word document rather than creating your content within SlideRoom. So you have it, one, saved for posterity. You're also going to be able to share it with others really easily, and you'll be able to edit in a much more clean fashion. So this looks like we have a little overview of how you're going to get to where you need to go. So cityofdubuque.org, you go straight to this landing page. Arts and culture is up in the box circled, or you can go directly, if you Google City of Dubuque Arts, it'll take you directly to the Arts and Cultural Affairs page. And so once you land on the Arts and Cultural Affairs page, so Arts and Culture in Dubuque, the access to funding program is going to be on the left side there in that menu. Special projects grant is what you're looking for in this particular round. And then we've circled here all of those hot links. You can download most everything to get you started. I highly encourage you to download all of this and read through everything before you start. You might want to, I suggest you also go over and take a look at the goals and priorities of the city arts and culture master plans. You can sort of align your work. Now, you don't have to read all 8,432 pages. You can just sort of take a look and see sort of where your organization is fitting in. So this city money is going out to organizations that are really doing that master plan work for us. Whether you know it or not, you're fulfilling our master plan through your everyday arts and cultural exploration. So this slide is going to help you see what's going to happen when you hop into SlideRoom. So you're going to hit sign up or log in. You're going to hit your apply now, and you're going to have this FY2024 Arts and Culture Special Projects will be right there. You're going to click on that, and it will open up into all of the questions you'll fill out as you go along. We didn't include all of that here. It is truly the easiest thing you may have ever done. Once you submit your application, there's no turning back. So you will have an opportunity to click here to review your application before submitting. We always recommend that you do that as well. You never know what it looks like if you're Zooming or if it's 11:45 p.m. Really just take a look and review before you hit submit. Once you submit, you're going to get a success. I would save this for you as well. Save this to your desktop as well, or to your files. You can print it, or you can save it as a PDF, just so you have a full copy of your finished application for resource later. So now we're going to go back into some more timelines. So you've submitted, you're excited, you're sleeping because you hadn't slept in a while because you were working so hard on your grant. It's sort of where it's going to go when you let it go. So we did kind of go through this earlier in the slide. So staff will receive all of the applications. We're going to pull them down out of slide room. They're going to review and to see if you're in compliance with the eligibility requirements, and then provide any updates to the applicants and to the reviewers. Then the applications move forward to the review panel. As I mentioned, these are vetted and volunteer review panelists for within the city of Dubuque and the region. These are not the commissioners. These are not the friends sitting next to you. So we have gone toward the most equitable and least subjective method to provide a competitive review panel for you. Once the scores are compiled, staff will move them, put everything in front of the Arts and Cultural Affairs Commission, and they'll have discussion, review rankings. We're going to take a look at your funding options. And then the commission will, once in consensus, will make recommendations for funding levels to the city manager and to the city council. And then we've gone through this before, but once city council signs off, staff will send award notifications with a request. You'll sign your agreement. You will submit an invoice. City manager will sign and send back. And then you receive your agreement for execution, also maybe known as a grant contract. And that will have all of the great dates and press release opportunities, ways to recognize your award. Whoops, sorry about all of the bouncing. So a couple of helpful tips and resources and contacts if you need a little help along the way. As a professional grant writer, that's me, I highly encourage you to review and prepare your application materials early. Discuss it with your colleagues, discuss it with your partners, your friends, see what other folks are doing while you create your project. Try not to work in a silo and get started early. Again, everything is downloadable from the City of Dubuque website in the handout section today. And then you can also take a look at the preview and slide room. All three are going to provide you with the same information. You want to make sure you're adhering to the maximum character counts, which include spaces. Now, this is why you really want to work in a Word document rather than within a portal. So you can edit as you need if you start to exceed character counts. So that's characters with spaces. So when you attach the requested documents, so we're requesting very specific things that we need for your organization. To make this equitable, we have provided you with a required list, and we want to be mindful of uploading those that we've requested. We don't want additional materials, and we really want you to stay inside of the requested document length. If we say 1 page, we mean 1 page. Don't send 10. And lastly, keep community outcomes and impact, the why of your mission at the activities in front and center. So how does this work align with your mission? How does it align with your strategic plan? How do these activities move the needle on the work that you're doing? That's what we really want to hear. Here are a couple of resources for slide room technical support. The application guidelines, application preview, the scoring rubric. We've said it a million times. They're in the handouts and they're on the website for you. And lastly, our helpful contacts. So we're committed to making our programs and services accessible to everyone. So to request accommodations, translation, interpretation, or any other assistance, including technical support, or simply just questions about the process, or completing your application, contact the City of Dubuque Arts and Cultural Affairs staff at artsculture@cityofdubuque.org. The phone number's there for you. All of this is on the bottom of the Arts and Culture Grants page. The very bottom of each page has the same information for you. And finally, it's time for you to talk. So if you want to drop your message or your questions into the chat, you can do that. I think there's a questions icon on there as well. And Laura or I can answer them for you.
Thank you, Paula, for leading us through all of this really important information regarding the Special Projects Grants Program. I am monitoring the questions and the comments section, and I am not seeing that anyone has any at this time.
Sounds great. Well, thanks, Laura. Thanks to everyone attending. Shoot us an email if you needed a little help along the way. Otherwise, happy writing, and thanks for your work.